Are people who use ghosting to dump their partners more likely to have dark triad traits present in their personalities? The answer is yes, according to the findings of a 2021 study. The article reporting on these findings is titled "Leaving Without a Word: Ghosting and the Dark Triad Traits." The piece originally appeared in the October 2021 edition of the peer-reviewed journal Acta Psychologica. The research was conducted by Peter K. Johansson, Isabella Kazmarzik, Anna Katrina Campos, and Mark D. Davis. The study's framework first reflected on the dark triad as a collection of overlapping personality traits and behaviors associated with the grandiosity, entitlement, and validation seeking of narcissism, the coldness, antagonism, and scorn for social norms of psychopathy, and the manipulation and calculation of Machiavellianism. After that, the research specifically focused on ghosting. Do these disturbed personalities end relationships by using this tactic? And how often, if so? The research team conducted their study using an online survey in late 2019. The participant breakdown fell into these categories. 341 volunteers came from the United States, approximately 76% were female and 23% were male. 71% were white and 47% were undergrad students, and the remaining participants were predominantly black. First, the 27-item short dark triad questionnaire was used to determine the levels of dark triad traits potentially present in all of the participants. Following the questionnaire, the study moved on to ghosting as a method for relationship termination. The definition of ghosting used in the study reads as follows. Ghosting is when a person abruptly, socially disengages with someone they are romantically and/or sexually involved with little to no explanation. Yes, according to the study, individuals with higher levels of dark triad traits present in their personalities use ghosting to break it off with romantic partners. Specifically, the research revealed that participants exhibiting higher levels of Machiavellianism and psychopathy were more likely to ghost their unwanted partners, but participants with higher levels of narcissism detected in their personalities were not as likely to ghost. One key element that appeared in the research, believe it or not, was guilt. But why? Well, the article highlights that ghosting was considered more acceptable when ending short-term relationships, but the acceptance of ghosting decreased the longer a relationship played out. The frequency of ghosting came up too. The more ghosting a dark triad personality engaged in, the more the tactic was viewed as a viable and appropriate strategy for ending future relationships. If it works, it works. As the article reports, quote, "Our study showed that those who had ghosted others in the past were more Machiavellian and more psychopathic, but not narcissistic than those who had not ghosted anyone. A possible explanation for this is that individuals exhibiting levels of narcissism aren't as likely to ghost due to a narcissist's ability to cognitively understand a person's emotions, which is cognitive empathy, and use that to maintain a superficial relationship for future benefit, such as maintaining a source of narcissistic supply." End quote. Let's get back to the idea of short-term versus long-term relationships. One of the reasons why dark triad personalities ghost so much is because they usually are only seeking out fleeting relationships and superficial attachments, especially when Machiavellianism and psychopathy register higher. Remember, these personalities are typically incapable of going deep emotionally to begin with. It all turns into a self-fulfilling prophecy. In the eyes of a dark triad personality, relationships are short-lived and not all that important. So when those relationships are not fun and exciting anymore, why not just vanish in the dead of night, never to be heard from again? On this topic, the researchers wrote the following, quote, "Traits like the dark triad are associated with interest in casual sex, more sex partners, promiscuous attitudes, behaviors, and desires, tactics to capture mates from others, as in mate poaching, and less relationship authenticity in long-term relationships. Since this article was released in 2021, the authors noted their full awareness of the rising interest in the Dark Triad among the general public, especially in narcissism and psychopathy. The reason for this is plain. The general public now has concise yet powerful terminology to apply to the dysfunctional and abusive relationships they've been trapped in for years. This important point is not lost on the authors, as they wrote, quote, "Those characterized by Machiavellianism have a game-playing love style as they play hard to get to increase their desirability as a partner. Those characterized by narcissism and psychopathy may have enabling attitudes towards abuse in the bedroom, engage in sexual coercion, and commit relationship aggression. It appears those characterized by these traits have a selfish, casual, and even exploitative approach to relationships." End quote. At the end of all of this, the study's findings point to one important piece of information to consider. Dark Triad personalities view their romantic attachments fundamentally different from those they are in the relationships with. They simply don't really care about their partners or relationships all that much. That's why ignoring your texts, blocking your calls, and pretending you don't exist is so damn easy.